Hello, people of the internet. It's Lars and
Irvine. Good to see you, friends.
and we thought we'd talk a little bit about warm-up routine, if there is any at all. You know, do you warm up at all?
Yeah, when I pick up my bass, like I'm kind of typically doing two things at once because it's at the gig. So I'm kind of checking my sound and checking my rig, like how it's sounding on that particular stage in that particular space.
Because it may be like a wooden stage, which always makes things a lot worse usually.
Sometimes you have to take away some low end to make it clean up, or bring in some more mid range or whatever, just to kind of like tune the rig to the space.
Oh, absolutely. And the venue,
and the venue,
the stage, and
like what's a good volume? Where does it feel like is going to be a good volume for this room? But in terms of like actual playing, I almost always like kind of do this like in the key of G. I like G because it's kind of got you can come under.
Yeah.
And you can kind of play the whole bass and get a feel for what all the notes are going to sound like.
Uh-huh.
And then almost always when I'm first like get into, picking up my instrument, even if I'm just at home, and I'm just, it's the morning and I've got my coffee and I've got I'm going to sit down with my bass and play for a little while. I almost always will like try and make it think of a groove, you know what I mean? So my warm up is actually grooving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm hearing boom, pat, boom, pat, boom, boom, pat, boom, pat, boom, pat, boom, pat, boom, pat, boom. So I'm trying to make it kind of have a groovy bounce to it.
Yeah.
And then in my mind, the kind of things that I'm thinking of, some years ago I read a book by Kenny Werner called Effortless Mastery. Did you ever read that one?
Book? Yeah.
That's such a great book.
It's a killer book. You should check that out.
And he talks about fear in music, and how we, as we're kind of working our way in and through and kind of navigating the musical world, there's fear points. There's things like playing. The note needs to be right because if it was wrong, that would be bad.
Yeah.
And so we start to have these associations that some notes are good and some notes are bad. And taking that fear out of it, what I try to adopt all the time is like, no. Anything is good. Anything is possible at all times.
Yeah.
So when I'm playing, let's say G is the key, the tonal center, what I'm trying to think of is that, like, if it's like on a G7, which is what I was outlining with that bouncy thing.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to incorporate all the other notes besides the obvious. Like if I'm thinking, okay, I want it to be bluesy, well, that's some notes, and those are good target points, but there's nothing wrong with the major third. Sure. There's nothing wrong with the major seven. Those things. The flat 2 and the 2 and the minor third and the major 7 and the 1. Yeah. All of those aren't like the obvious notes. You might think that those would be wrong in that tonality, but they can be right.
It's what you do with it, right?
It's how you play it.
Yeah.
And like the bluesy stuff, which is kind of where I'm kind of naturally, drawn to, is this kind of the soulful bluesy, groovy stuff.
Yeah.
But you can put a decidedly major thing on it.
That's like switching from major to minor and vice versa. Yeah.
Interchanging them constantly. So I try to like take the fear out of what is right and what is wrong and what's supposed to be appropriate for this tonality, and just try and feel like everything is possible in my mindset. And then try to execute it with different things. And another thing that I'll do is I'll like do this kind of inside outside thinking, meaning if G, G major, right? That's kind of inside the major tonality. But then I've also learned of ways to go outside the major tonality and maybe do like a diminished thing. And it wants to resolve right back into the
absolutely.
key. So so you dip your toes into the outer realms.
It's like opening up the window, sticking your head out, and then moving back in.
Exactly. So I'm constantly doing that kind of stuff. And you can even do it with things like the whole tone scale and launching it from a minor third above tonic. And it takes it to this kind of ambiguous, it's not major, it's not minor. What is it? It's kind of up in the air, kind of sounding place.
Very open sounding.
And then resolve it back to tonic. And then do something that's very, very major, you know? But 1, 3, 6, 4, 2, 5, 1. Or, and then I can start thinking about diatonic things that are possible, like 4 chord, sharp 4 diminished, back to the 1. And then other diatonic things like 2, 5. So that's kind of like the way that I warm up. I'm trying to warm up physically. I'm trying to warm up sonically with, does the rig sound good? Is it at the right volume and everything like that? And I'm trying to warm up my brain by thinking of possibilities and removing that fear of playing.
That is so cool.
I don't like actually sit there and say, this is what I'm going to do now. I just kind of automatically do it. It's just kind of like the way that I prepare in a kind of universal way to do the thing.
Have you ever done like those crazy spider exercises, anything like that?
Yes. Back in the day, I did that. That kind of a thing. I mean, that's really great.
Why don't you show it to our viewers?
Okay, it's chromatic movement, and it's got a bunch of components that are kind of warming up a whole bunch of things simultaneously.
And it's usually only like the 1 finger per fret thing, right?
Right. It's a 1 finger per fret thing, and you're moving chromatically up the neck, coming this way. And you're crossing each string, so you're working on string crossing.
Sure.
So if you're going to be alternating these fingers. So, and then you can shift it back. There's different ways to do it. You can shift it back here next, and then come this way. So.
Sure.
Or. Okay. Now, the good thing about this is the one that I just did is going to be the hardest one to do.
Okay.
Because every time you move it up, it's getting easier because the frets are getting smaller.
Yes.
And you'll feel the burn.
Oh yeah.
You know, you feel the burn, especially down low. It's getting easier as you go up the neck.
Absolutely. And there's actually, I don't know, it's probably hundreds of them, right? I have a crazy, nice little exercise, pretty much like that, consisting of like 2 positions, where you go in sort of like a zigzag line between the D and the G string. It's like this. Right, so this would be position 1. And then all the fingers are moving 1 fret up, but not like this. This would be way too easy. So this one starts where this one was. And this would be your position 2, like. And there's actually many, many things to consider. You want to pay attention to your thumb, right? You don't want to play like this. Obviously, no good. And if you play like too much from what I call playing from the outside, which would be that the wrist is pointing in this direction, like this, you're never going to make that either. So, right? There's no way that the little finger can get to the string. It's just not possible, and that this will result in people doing these crazy movements like this. Right? And you definitely don't want that. So you want to make sure to really have your wrist lined up in a way that so that every finger can get to the string like this. Right? Now this is, once you have that down, this is where things get really crazy, because you can decide, okay, now I got that down, so now I will jump over the D string without using it. So you can now Right, do something like this, or even worse than that, you can jump over the the A and the D string, and this is where it becomes obvious why this thing is called the spider, right? Look at this. Now, at the same time, you want to pay special attention to your thumb. You don't want to forget your thumb in this one position and then do something like this. Let me show you. I'm not sure if you can see this. Right? You don't want this to happen. So any time that I'm switching positions, I'm doing this. Just making sure that my whole hand is landing in that new position, right? So that. That's a crazy little exercise.
That is a good one.
You really feel the burn. Now, talking about that, there's way more of that spider stuff. Here's some crazy stuff as well. Like if you put your little finger like on the high F and the middle finger on the high A flat, that is, like this, right? So these two fingers will stick in that position. Now you have these two fingers without any task so far. So now you can do this. And that's really a very, very crazy exercise. And you can do that in all kinds of variations, right? So for now, I've used my little finger and the middle finger in a constant position, but you can switch between fingers. Like for instance, now I have my index finger on the high G, and I have my ring finger on the E. And now I will go. So you can do that, or you can take the two outer fingers, like, and the inner fingers will go. Right? Or you have like the two last fingers playing like an F and an A, and now the first two fingers will go. Or the first two fingers in that sticky position, and now. Now you will get to a point where if you're new to this, one of those fingers is not willing to move at all, right? So you will go like, it just won't move, right? So now what you want to do is you want to grab that finger by the hand and move it back and forth just a couple of times. By doing that, you will teach your brain, this is what I want you to do, right? And all of a sudden you will notice, okay, right, this finger knows what I want it to do, right? So stuff like that. And then you want to start to really slowly work on that exercise. Yeah, so basically what this whole spider exercise thing is all about is you have like one finger per fret. You're moving up and down the neck, and that's just a very, very good thing to do when you're warming up. Like if you're in a sound check and the drummer is taking more time as usual, probably doing his bass drum or whatever, you can just lean towards your bass rig and turn on the volume, or just have it like a tiny little bit up and do those kind of exercises. It's better than doing nothing and just wasting your time, really.
Yeah, and it's twisting your fingers around, but it's also twisting your mind around.
Oh yeah.
And that's half the battle, is being able to think, hear it, see it, and play it. You know, and in order to do that, you have to be able to think quickly and have your thoughts be tied to a movement of that finger. So those kind of exercises really kind of tie all of that together.
Yeah.
I do some things that are similar to that.
Okay.
What I would be more inclined to do is like when it comes to string crossing and establishing a definitive thing that each finger is going to do or whatever. I do stuff like put it into a pattern that's associated with like a blues or something like that. Like Another one is like boogie woogie piano bass lines. I mean, that's definitively piano.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And boogie woogie. So it's really essentially it's like a pedal point because you're just always coming back to your tonic as your pedal point. You're putting these high notes on top of it.
So that would be. Do you use rakings at all, or?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see. Yeah.
You know, when it comes time to teach, do you ever notice that it's like, I have to really think about this because I've just been doing it forever and I've never had to like actually break it down and explain what I'm doing.
I have that all the time.
So I kind of have to like teach myself. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, how can I explain it?
That's some thoughts about warming up prior to your gigs. If you like what you saw and heard, leave us a like. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. Hit the bell for notifications on new video content, which we usually will put out every week. Also, if you want to find out more about Sadowsky Basses, go to sadowskybasses.com or feel free to check out this amazing amount of video content that we already have on this channel. That's it from Lars, and
this is Andy, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
See ya. Bye-bye.